Our understanding of the past is continually redefined through new archaeological discoveries that unearth a different perspective of history. Among these intriguing finds are the ones suggesting the existence of colossal giants which walked the earth millennia before us. This recently gained significant momentum through a startling discovery of a giant tomb in Iraq that could potentially revolutionize our perception of Earth's ancient history. Whose remains were discovered in the tomb? Was this the actual burial site of the mythical Gilgamesh? And if so, was Gilgamesh as described in the epic, a giant born from the union of a mortal and a Mesopotamian goddess, a real historical figure rather than a myth? Could this discovery bring to light ancient secrets and provide answers to questions we didn't even know we had? All of this and more in the new episode of Secret Origins. Welcome. In 2003, a German expedition led by Jorg Fassbender made an incredible discovery. The archaeological team reportedly unearthed an ancient tomb in the desert of Iraq, believed to belong to one of these gigantic beings of antiquity. Far from an ordinary find, they had stumbled upon something monumental, a burial site with immense skeletal remains that were subsequently sent for further examination and carbon dating. The German-led archaeological team discovered an array of impressive architectural structures, including residential areas and a sophisticated canal system which have since been referred to as a Venice in the desert. Most strikingly, on the periphery of this ancient metropolis, the team found a structure that resembled a tomb, and its description bore a striking resemblance to the tomb of Gilgamesh, the legendary Sumerian king. Fassbender, while cautious, noted the uncanny similarity between the discovered tomb and the descriptions in the Epic of Gilgamesh. If indeed this tomb belonged to Gilgamesh, it would fundamentally change the long-held belief among historians that Gilgamesh was a fictional character. Did discovery, therefore, hold the potential to reshape our understanding of history and the origins of humanity? First, let's start with the figure of Gilgamesh. The rich tapestry of our history is woven with tales of legendary figures whose life stories inspire wonder, curiosity, and an insatiable desire to understand our past. One such individual is the demigod King Gilgamesh, who, according to the ancient epic of Gilgamesh, ruled the land of Uruk, present-day Iraq. Born a demigod, Gilgamesh's reign was defined by his extraordinary strength and initial tyranny. The gods, moved by the pleas of his oppressed subjects, created Enkidu, a wild man whose power matched Gilgamesh's. After an epic duel, Gilgamesh emerged victorious, earning Enkidu's respect and eventually a profound friendship. The narrative of Gilgamesh was known to us only due to the painstaking efforts of historians and archaeologists over the centuries. The journey towards unveiling this epic started in 1849 with Austin Henry Layard's discovery of an inscrutable clay tablet among the ruins of an ancient library of Assyrian king Ashurbanipal in northern Iraq. This was one of the earliest known libraries in human history. Over the next few years, more than 15,000 similar tablet fragments, each covered with the same enigmatic script, were discovered. These artifacts were meticulously transported to the British Museum, where they would lay the groundwork for decades of scholarly efforts to decipher the ancient language. In the 1870s, the code of these ancient scripts was finally cracked by a self-taught scholar named George Smith. From humble beginnings as a banknote engraver, Smith's fascination with the tablets led him to teach himself ancient languages, ultimately landing him a job at the British Museum. Tasked with translating Layard's tablets, Smith uncovered a narrative that closely paralleled the biblical tale of Noah, a story of a great flood and the sole surviving man and his family. His translation, revealed to the Society of Biblical Archaeology in 1872, sent shockwaves throughout Europe and the world. However, Smith's work was far from over. In 1875, he published full translations of his findings, unknowingly initiating the translation of the Epic of Gilgamesh. His untimely death in 1876 did not impede the unraveling of this ancient story. Scholars worldwide continued his work, gradually revealing the extraordinary tale of the ancient Mesopotamian king Gilgamesh. As more tablets were translated, Gilgamesh's character unfolded further. His initial tyranny, his rivalry that turned into friendship with Enkidu, their shared adventures, and his eternal quest for immortality following Enkidu's death were gradually revealed. In the epic, Gilgamesh was described as a giant standing over 5 meters tall, who was the son of a Sumerian king and a Mesopotamian goddess. He was reigning over the land of Uruk, modern-day Iraq, and possessed superhuman strength, endurance, and intelligence, captivating modern readers. The epic hailed Gilgamesh as the pinnacle of wisdom and knowledge, suggesting that his tomb, if discovered, could potentially reveal immense secrets about our past and our understanding of life. The Epic of Gilgamesh also profoundly influenced the epic genre throughout history, inspiring great works like the Iliad and Homer's Odyssey. The prospect of uncovering the knowledge of wisdom of this ancient giant king was tantalizing. Following the initial discovery, news regarding the excavation fell silent, as this extraordinary discovery was shortly followed by a troubling development. The commencement of the U.S. invasion of Iraq forced the German archaeologists to abandon their groundbreaking work and leave the questions raised by their findings unanswered. Following this interruption, access to the discovery has been heavily restricted, primarily due to the area falling into the war zone, hindering further exploration and research into our ancient and forgotten history. Several potential archaeological sites, such as the alleged location of the Garden of Eden, have suffered the same fate. The U.S. State Department's Log of Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, contains an email requesting documents related to the Gilgamesh Resurrection Chamber and the location of the buried nephilim. The authenticity and purpose of this email have sparked speculation and uncertainty. The Freedom of Information Act allows members of the public to request access to records from any federal agency. It is meant to ensure the public's right to be informed about what their government is doing. The Nephilim, as described in various religious texts, were the offspring of fallen angels and humans. Their existence has been a much debated topic for centuries, with interpretations of their nature and origin varying significantly. Some traditions depict them as evil and destructive, while others portray them as heroic and righteous. Some people who believe in conspiracy theories suggest that the Iraq War was used as a distraction to secretly either protect or destroy valuable ancient artifacts. This idea leads to another unusual theory, often called the super soldier theory. Promoted by individuals such as YouTuber Corey Good, this hypothesis posits that the US government and the clandestine global elite may be using the DNA from these purportedly recovered remains for sinister ends. They suggest the possibility of attempting to resurrect or crossbreed these ancient giants with humans, potentially for military advantage. While Gilgamesh is often posited as the potential occupant of the tomb, there's another candidate, Nimrod, a figure in biblical tradition known for his immense strength and ambition. According to the Bible, Nimrod, a descendant of Noah, was a mighty king and hunter. His kingdom stretched across Babel, Iraq, Uruk, and Calneh, cities he either founded or ruled. Some scholars link Nimrod to the construction of the Tower of Babel, a symbol of humanity's attempt to reach the heavens. But the excavation of the giant's tomb in Iraq is not the only one. Other findings over the years have hinted at the existence of giant humanoids who lived centuries or even millennia ago, potentially predating some of our currently thriving cultures. The discovery of Lovelock Cave is a particularly fascinating example of findings related to giants. In 1911, two miners, David Pugh and James Hart, were contracted to explore Lovelock Cave in Nevada, seeking bat guano, an essential component for fertilizer manufacturing. What started as an ordinary job led to a remarkable archaeological discovery. They found over 40 unusually large human skeletons, suspected to be part of some ancient burial tradition. Intriguingly, the skeletons had red hair, which suggested they were not native to the region. This discovery quickly attracted attention, And by the spring of 1912, an anthropologist from the University of California was dispatched to investigate further. He unearthed over 100,000 artifacts, proving more evidence of this mysterious group's existence. Turning to the mystery of Stonehenge in England, this ancient site's builders have long remained unknown. A study in 2018 by Harvard University researchers suggested that the builders vanished shortly after constructing the monument, leaving almost no genetic traces in the modern British population. Considering the weight and height of the Stonehenge monoliths, it's interesting to question the possibility that they were built by giants. In 1998, scientists at Emory University analyzed DNA data from different populations to trace Native American ancestry. Their analysis revealed an X lineage, a group whose ancestry couldn't be fully traced. This discovery implies that a group of humans on this planet could not be directly connected to known historical populations. In 2011, geneticists at the Max Planck Institute of Evolutionary Anthropology suggested that the earliest humans didn't only mate within their species, but also with other hominid species, and even an unidentified species hinted at in our DNA. This theory has led some to speculate about possible contact with extraterrestrial life forms. These discoveries and theories certainly raise many questions about human origins and history. For instance, who were the large individuals discovered in Lovelock Cave? Were the legendary figures Gilgamesh and Nimrod the same person? And is there any possibility that humans have indeed mated with beings from another world? Denetra D. Senegar, listed as the applicant for the request on the State Department's documents website, adds another layer of mystery to the case. A search for this name yields thousands of results, making it impossible to obtain meaningful information about this individual. It's possible this name is a pseudonym or code used by someone else. As the years passed, the discovery of 2003, which once promised to revolutionize our understanding of human history, seems to have been forgotten. Yet someone somewhere still expresses interest in this discovery, evidenced by the State Department email request. If this individual seeks the location of the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh and the Nephilim, it's clear that the status of these sites has changed since 2003. Otherwise, a simple internet search would have sufficed. The mystery surrounding this case continues to persist, raising more questions than answers. Yet the question of why the United States invaded Iraq in 2003 still loomed. Iraq was not linked to the 9/11 attacks, and the official reason given by the US government that Iraq and Saddam Hussein were harboring weapons of mass destruction was later discredited. This has led to various speculations, including control over oil reserves or President George W. Bush's personal motivations to complete what his father, President George H.W. Bush, had started during the First Gulf War. Could it have been, though, that the archaeological discovery of Gilgamesh's tomb had anything to do with it? The possibility of unearthing knowledge of our ancient past and potentially rewriting our understanding of human history could hold tremendous value. Is it a coincidence that the discovery of the tomb of Gilgamesh, a find of significant historical and archaeological importance, happened just before the invasion? From what is known as the invasion progressed, the US troops promptly seized control of the site containing Gilgamesh's tomb. The subsequent actions were questionable as they expelled not only the scientific researchers working on site, but also media personnel from reputed news networks like ABC News and BBC who were covering the discovery. Witnesses in the vicinity later reported the US military personnel conducting their own excavations, suggesting the potential removal of artifacts or materials from the tomb and inviting speculations about the secrets that may have been uncovered. Another point of interest in the sequence of events was the handling of the National Museum of Iraq by U.S. forces. This institution in the heart of Baghdad held an extensive collection of historical artifacts, acting as a reservoir of human history. Despite explicit warnings from global scientists and historians about the cultural significance of the museum and its status as a prime heritage site, the U.S. military was reported to have left the museum unsecured after the capture of Baghdad. In the days that followed, an unregulated influx of plunderers wreaked havoc on the museum's collections, leading to the unfortunate disappearance of tens of thousands of irreplaceable artifacts. This careless act drew strong criticism from all over the world, with some even calling it a crime against humanity. However, adding to the intrigue were accounts suggesting that special U.S. military units had accessed the museum and removed entire vaults of artifacts before the public looting began. To investigate the situation further, the U.S. government sent a team consisting of specialists from the CIA, FBI, and U.S. Immigration and Customs Services, led by Colonel Michael Bogdanos. He was a Marine commander and lawyer with a degree in classical studies, a unique blend of expertise which would aid in his mission. The state in which the team found the museum was deplorable, apparently used as a battlefield by the Iraqi army. But a startling revelation was awaiting them in the museum's underground section. The selective and organized manner of the theft suggested a level of insider knowledge about the museum's collections. Despite the theft, the most valuable items like the world's finest collection of cylinder seals and a wealth of ancient gold and silver coins remained untouched. What was the true intention behind this theft, and specifically, what were the thieves really searching for? One answer might trace back to a theory that has its roots in the 1920s, proposing the existence of a Stargate, a piece of advanced ancient technology believed to facilitate teleportation to far-off locations. The ancient Sumerians, who were the original inhabitants of Iraq, had stories of their interaction with beings called the Anunnaki, who gave them advanced knowledge and technology. Some interpret these Anunnaki as extraterrestrial beings who visited Earth thousands of years ago. If this interpretation holds, the possibility of a Stargate being left behind by these advanced visitors seems quite possible. Some even hypothesize that the Anglo-Iraqi War in 1941 was in reality a conflict between British and German interests for control over the Stargate. The theory resurfaced in the 1980s with rumors suggesting that Saddam Hussein had rediscovered the Stargate and was attempting to activate it. These rumors gained credence when Dr. Michael Salla, a well-respected Australian historian and professor at American University in Washington, D.C., suggested in an academic paper that the control over the Iraqi Stargate could have been a primary motivation for the war. Adding another layer to this complex narrative, a report emerged during the 1991 Gulf War, published in the Russian newspaper Pravda, detailing a peculiar event dubbed as Iraq's Roswell. The report recounted an account by a Russian colonel who witnessed a UFO being shot down by the U.S. Air Force, and the subsequent inspection of the crash site revealing a small, round aircraft made of unidentifiable material. Intriguingly, the crew members and the engine of the craft seemed to be missing, leading to speculations about their possible recovery by the Iraqis before the arrival of Russian, Saudi, or American representatives. Later in 2002, a caller to an American radio show identifying himself as a military insider claimed that Iraq was on the verge of a breakthrough in reverse engineering the technology from the crash site. This assertion, if true, could imply that the invasion was an attempt to prevent Saddam from gaining control of this alien technology. So, is it possible that the term weapons of mass destruction was actually a coded reference to this alien technology? What is the aftermath of this groundbreaking discovery in the wake of the invasion? The mystery of Gilgamesh's tomb, does it still lie dormant in the sands of Iraq? Or has it been subject to further discrete investigations within the chaos of conflict? The answer to these questions remain elusive, but the implications continue to stir the imagination and intrigue of historians, archaeologists, and truth seekers around the world. As we continue to dig deeper into our ancient past, we may yet unearth the secrets that lie buried, secrets that could redefine our understanding of human history and our place in it. We bow before you and thank you for watching another episode of Secret Origins. Keep your minds open, and until we meet again.